Welcome to Tech Leaders Today with your host, Cassie Crossley. All comments, views, and opinions expressed on this show are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers. Now here's Cassie Crossley.
Welcome to Tech Leaders Today. I'm here with Michael Archuleta, who is an innovative leader passionate about leveraging technology to enhance the patient and provider experience. He is a director of IT at Mount San Rafael Hospital in Colorado. How are you today, Mike?
Hey, I'm doing very well today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me. I would love to know a bit more about what you do at the hospital.
Absolutely. So, my overall expertise is focused on leveraging technology to the fullest to basically enhance the patient experience and patient safety and improve patient care within the organization. We were basically an organization at the time before I came into the leadership role here in IT. Our organization was just basically a flat-lined, no technology. The word technology was really never embedded into the actual organization's culture. It was more of a transformational leadership approach on really putting in the first electronic medical record system in the organization for both our hospital and clinics, building the first data center, really starting to standardize a lot with virtualization on the server sides and on the desktop side, really boosting up our overall cybersecurity strategy and processes. I think, IT has really gone away from the old process of where individuals would fix computers and printers. Now we're really focused on strategy, business leadership, and really focusing on how tech can really incorporate in the overall strategy of the organization too. So it's really been a very humbling experience to really see how the organization has grown, how we've really incorporated a lot of tech initiatives here in this Mount San Rafael Hospital, and really being recognized nationally when we won Most Wired 2015 and Most Wired 2016. Those were some great nationally recognized awards. And they've really seen that this small organization is really starting to focus a lot on tech. How do we improve patient experience? How do we bring the best experience for our patients so we can basically retain our patients too? So my overall focus is strategy and the vision of utilizing technology to improve the organization.
Those awards sound very impressive. Who actually presented those awards?
Most Wired is a healthcare recognized organization on individuals that are basically utilizing tech to the fullest. It is presented by HHN Magazine. I don't know if you've actually heard of the organization, but the organization has been an amazing group. It really focuses on healthcare organizations really leveraging tech. It really shows, the benefit of how they're focusing on integration, interface, patient experience, patient portals, the electronic medical record system. How are they doing with their cybersecurity strategy? How are they doing to really retain patients here in this organization and really improve patient care? So this, Hospitals and Health Networks has been an amazing organization, and I know they've partnered up with the American Hospital Association. And what happens is there's an annual survey that basically goes out to kind of determine how hospitals are basically ranked and how they're utilizing technology to the fullest. And we won Most Wired 2015 and 2016 two times in a row, so it's an amazing honor to be presented with all these other amazing hospitals.
That's excellent. Well, it's nice to see that people are looking at more than just the healthcare services side, but also how technology can work with healthcare. I believe it's truly revolutionary what's been happening the last 10 years and what will happen over the next 20 plus years in the healthcare industry and how technology is merging with healthcare.
Absolutely. Interoperability, population health, really seeing all the new initiatives. And of course, there is still some unknowns moving forward into 2017 with the new administration, with the new Trump administration really coming into play and looking at the Affordable Care Act, how that's going to move forward into the future. And looking at some of the new initiatives too, as we, go and focus on 2018, Meaningful Use Stage 3 is going to be the actual start. And there's a lot of new requirements. And I know some of the specific items are really moving over into that macro MIPS scenario too. So there is, of course, as I stated, there is still some items still unknown. But we're going to continue to move forward and continue to be a great innovator in the healthcare organization sector.
Excellent. Let's move to the topic that I don't have a lot of background in, which is IT resources within a healthcare environment. Do you have to have special initiatives for people retention or attraction, something that might be different than a standard corporate world? What do you find there?
It definitely is a different realm of things. At times, information technology is basically an amazing field, a lot of amazing individuals. And when you move over into the healthcare information technology realm, it is completely different too. I mean, really focusing on different initiatives, trying to really improve the overall cybersecurity strategies. I mean, they have basically stated that healthcare is almost 5 years behind any other sector out there. It is a problem. But it is amazing because individuals coming into this field can really see the potential and the growth and how it basically has evolved from flat line to now really moving over into a high-tech scenario. Healthcare is a beast of its own, and I mean, it's definitely very complex. At times, it's individuals that really need to get involved, need to be involved for the right reason. And the number one reason when we basically look at an individual to really kind of come on board is our number one goal here, anyone's number one goal working in healthcare, is how do we improve patient care, patient safety? How do we create more processes that allow us to save lives towards our patients? And even though we as techs, we as innovators in the technology department, we may not have a direct contact with the patients, but the technology that we put out there does. It's kind of funny because I always ask in my interviews, when was the last time you scrubbed the toilet? And when I first asked that question, I mean, everyone was kind of looking at me like, well, that's kind of an irrelevant question. The reason why I say that too, though, is when was the last time you scrubbed a toilet was because when was the last time you got your hands dirty? And if individuals tell me, well, I haven't done it in a very long time, or another individual says, well, someone else does it for me, that's basically telling me that that individual doesn't like getting down and dirty. The thing is, sometimes here in the HIT world, here in rural America, you got to wear multiple hats. You have to really get down. You got to do what it takes in order to improve the overall culture, improve the overall organization, and really try to get the right individuals to fit the actual scenario's culture. So it is such a huge thing in really trying to pick the right candidates and the right candidates for the right reason and why we're here focusing on patient care and really showing them some of the amazing initiatives that we basically have here. You know, being part of a Most Wired Hospital, I think that's really has allowed us to sell ourselves on, you're coming into a Most Wired Hospital, we're really focused on technology, really getting your hands, dirty with specific items, touching every specific element of tech in the group. And if you want to learn, that's a key, is finding an individual that is moldable. If you can find a person that is moldable, that understands healthcare and how to be compassionate towards individuals and patients, and has a good focus on communication, that is going to be the key element of finding and retaining great people for your organization.
It sounds like you hire people who don't necessarily have healthcare on their resume. Is that true, or are you specifically looking for technologists with healthcare backgrounds?
No, that's basically true. And I definitely do look at finding individuals that do have healthcare as a background too. But it is not a requirement right now. And the reason why is, of course, if we find that right candidate, that right individual that will fit into the culture, that has that passion and that drive, we can teach them healthcare. We can make them understand, the different processes, the difference between healthcare and other organizations, and really try to mold that individual to really understand HIT. CompTIA has come up with a very good program. A lot of technicians, like basic help desk technicians, are going to focus on going to get their CompTIA A+, which is basically a computer technician certification that they obtain. but I make all of my staff come in on the clinical side, clinical informatics, on the help desk side, even on the networking and engineering side, to look at one of the CompTIA HIT certifications, which focuses on healthcare information technology. So at least it gives them a basic outline of understanding so they can have that specific basic foundation to at least understand and look at some specific items that we're trying to do here in healthcare.
I like that approach. It allows people to come in from different experiences, and it can also show them areas that they might want to examine in the future. Maybe they want to change paths a bit, and they'll learn more about it. That's a great approach for expanding the knowledge base of your team.
That's always a thing that I'd look at too, is if you focus on the military side, and we're just going to use the Marines, for example. When you join the Marines, everyone becomes a gunman. So everyone has at least the rifle concept of how to basically utilize a rifle. And then, of course, everyone from there then has their own occupational specialty. Here, I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, we are focused on healthcare information technology. So you need to have that basic foundation, and then, of course, specialize according to what you do too. But there's always a good foundation in bringing those specific concepts into place before they look at going a little bit more in depth with their specialties.
Are you looking to reach technology leaders? Hosting a podcast does have some costs involved. I'm searching for sponsors on this weekly podcast to simply pay for the hosting, editing, and marketing associated with this great podcast. If you're interested in sponsoring the podcast, please contact me through Twitter or my website, and soon you'll be reaching technology leaders around the world. Let me take it to the technology side now. What initiatives or projects or technology areas are really motivating you, driving you, exciting you today?
You know, right now, there are so many amazing things happening in healthcare, especially the focus of interoperability and really creating an overall structure of full communications between electronic medical record systems. One of our top initiatives, of course, has been cybersecurity. And looking at the overall cybersecurity strategy here for the organization, we really focus on items, on improvements, what we need to do moving forward. We always focus on security risk analysis to basically do a full review quarterly on specific systems, on open ports, on network communications, on policies and procedures, on specific lockout rates, just really making sure that we're hitting all of the SRAs, all the HIPAA and high-tech regulations that are being thrown out there. And then we're starting to focus a lot on virtualization too. So we've rolled out a virtual desktop infrastructure project, which basically we removed all the tower PCs, and now we've installed Dell Y0 clients throughout the whole organization. We also incorporated single sign-on within Pravada. So we did single sign-on with two-factor authentication to really just boost up the actual cybersecurity process and making sure that the individuals that do log into the machine are the individuals that they're basically stating they are. We focused a lot on all of these for efficiency, for improvements of security, and just to really improve our overall initiative as an organization on how we leverage technology to the fullest. I mean, you see a lot of the actual physicians, a lot of the nurses, multi-rooms going into different areas. So then we think on how do we improve that specific process? We improve it by single sign-on. Go into a room, grab your badge, sign in, use the two-factor authentication to get in. You're fully in. And with virtual desktop infrastructure, you can create specific individuals to have a floating profile. So wherever they're leaving off, they're basically just floating from room to room and gaining quick access to their actual desktop from there. And since we do have a lot of offsite physicians at time that need direct access into the actual EMR system, everything is set up as an actual VDI. We now have direct access with security processes to get into our system if you're off of our network too. It has really improved the efficiency. It has really decreased, the number of unsigned charts incomplete charts, and it's really improved our overall cybersecurity initiative too. Because even looking at ransomware, malware, viruses, I mean, with a floating profile, basically logging in every single time, you're getting a brand new session every single time. It's kind of like you're getting a new computer, which is always an amazing thing because even though you download a specific application, you log in the next time, that's basically removed from there. So, I mean, there's been some good initiatives that we've been focused on. And then we've also looked at a product that we basically have incorporated here into our facility, which is device control management. So within the whole organization, we do not allow USBs to be plugged into the actual machines. If you have a USB, you plug it into our machines, the system will basically recognize what location, send notification over to the IT department, but then of course it would block your access and you wouldn't be able to even get in with that USB connection itself because there's been a lot of attempts of course, individuals coming in on site, dropping a USB. Maybe that USB contains malicious code. That's how these individuals are really focusing a lot in trying to penetrate the systems. So then what we've been doing too on an improvement side of cybersecurity is we've been looking at cybersecurity awareness towards our employees. We started focusing on simulated phish testing. So basically what this is we designed a specific email that looked like very legitimate. We sent it out to all the employees in the organization. We wanted to determine how many individuals would click on that email. And the reason why is because most of your ransomware attacks now are coming via email, coming from these hackers that are basically phishing employees, spear phishing executive teams that basically look like legitimate emails coming from the internal organization. The person clicks on it, you have malicious code downloading to the background, all your files are starting to get lost, and it can really stop organizations. I mean, a good example is Hollywood Presbyterian. Seems like they were almost down for a full week. Could you imagine the effects ransomware and these hackers are doing to healthcare organizations? Healthcare organizations are now considered the number one most attacked organizations out of all the sectors out there. And the year 2017 is going to be the rise of ransomware. So it is a major problem. And I do go to a lot of speaking sessions and a lot of seminars, and they're always focusing on the technology. Technology. We need to stop and we really need to go back to the basics and focus on our employees. Because every time I do a session with the organization's employees, I basically state this. The IT department is closing the doors to try to stop all the bad guys that are basically coming in. It is not just the IT's responsibility to create a good cybersecurity program. It's the whole organization's responsibility, because if we don't do it as an organization, we will not be successful. And if we don't focus on our employees to make them understand the potential of a breach, what is ransomware, what is phishing attempts, I mean, if we do not do this, you're going to really increase your chances of getting ransom hacked. And really, there could be several issues in regards to that. I know a group out in New Jersey that basically got ransom. They lost 10 years worth of data. And you figure too, we are all digital now, digital documentation, digital labs, digital radiology. Everything is now hackable, and it is becoming a problem, and it is really focusing a lot on healthcare. Then we ask ourselves, well, why? Because now a medical record on the black market has more of a value than an actual Social Security and a credit card.
How so? Why is the medical record worth more on the market?
Well, basically, a medical record has all the information to create a different identity. I mean, I can go out there and I can buy a medical record, and identity theft is such a huge thing for that. Medication controlled substances, with a new identity and with all the information that I have with your social security number, your date of birth, your full name, your gender, almost everything I need to create a specific different identity is all placed on your medical record. If you look at it, there's a very high value on doing that. And the thing is, though, too, is these healthcare organizations are still, trying to focus on the technology, but they don't look at the people. Because at the end of the day, when I speak to our employees, too, I said, you hold the keys to our success. You're basically the one that's going to unlock the door and open the door and let them gain access into our systems. It is a major problem. And I don't know if you're familiar with this, but there's three layers of the actual web itself. There's a surface web, there's a deep web, and there's a dark web. So the surface web is what you utilize, Google, Bing, Yahoo, what you're used to surf. Of course, the deep web is mostly like governmental resources, different things that you wouldn't go to. But then the dark web, which was designed for the military, fully encrypted site, is now being utilized for drug trafficking, private communications, legal information. So more than likely, if a healthcare organization gets breached, your information will be placed on the dark web. The thing is on the dark web, there's a special way to basically get there, and I would recommend no one ever going there because it definitely is a dark place. But they're basically advertising specific sites. Like there's a famous site out there right now that has all the paraphernalia, drug paraphernalia available, just posted out there, kind of like you're going to Amazon. You know, you could just look at it, pick what you want, and pay for it via Bitcoin, the electronic currency that's pretty highly untraceable. And then you can go out there and buy medical records. I mean, there was a site on the dark web that said healthcare database, 397,000 patients from Atlanta, Georgia for sale. And I mean, the actual format of the website is very user friendly. Quantity, postage options, buy it now. It is a major thing. And insurance fraud with the utilization of a medical record, with identity theft, with medication controlled substances. You know, those are really some top risk patients face, you know, when their data is really breached and what they're really looking for too. We as individuals cannot measure how much activity is actually going down to the dark web itself. But there was an experiment that was basically done by an organization that created a false medical record. They wanted to place it on the dark web because they wanted to kind of actually determine how many individuals would actually click on it. So the fake data traveled to 22 different countries and 5 of the world's 7 continents. This is a major problem, a major problem. And the thing is, though, too, we need to create a culture in bringing in cybersecurity technology as a center point towards these employees so they understand how it can really impact an organization.
That's pretty incredible. I've heard about the dark web, and on one of the podcasts I listen to that has Information Week and some of the editors from Dark Reading, it's pretty scary what's being seen today. And you're right, they are saying that this is just the start of it. Between the ransomware, the dark web, it's going to get much worse. And protecting what we have, and it's not just about username and passwords on Yahoo. This is much deeper than that. So I applaud you for the work and the focus and attention that you're doing, not only for your organization, but also for teaching people, because they do not realize it's more than just potentially getting your credit card stolen. This could be, you know, a unsuspecting patient being robbed of their entire identity. So thank you.
Absolutely. And, you know, it is definitely a scary thing. And the thing is can hospitals really keep up at times? I mean, if you look at the overall numbers, underfunding and understaffed, I mean, I know some healthcare organizations that don't even have a focused cybersecurity team. A lot of organizations that basically have gotten ransom and haven't been able to recover their information is because of poor backup systems and poor system configurations. And I always tell everyone, my number one thing too is, can healthcare organizations really keep up? If they do not focus on education and awareness on cybersecurity, it is going to be a problem. We really need to get our people to understand what that is.
I know folks may have some potential questions or interested in connecting with you. What is the best way for them to reach you?
You can reach me via Twitter. I'm very active on Twitter. So, you know, if you'd like to know about cybersecurity, CIO leadership, please follow me at Michael, Michael, 81082. And you can always look me up on LinkedIn too at Michael Archuleta. And I'm very active on Facebook too, and I basically have a focused Michael Archuleta Digital Innovation Group Facebook page. So please follow me. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me via those specific sites. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
This has been so informative. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
I want to thank you so much for listening today. If you love this podcast, please do share it with your friends and colleagues, and please leave a review on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher because it makes a difference for circulation. For the show notes and other great info, enter your email into the mailing list at techleaderstoday.com. Thank you.